We are living in strange times. I think everyone can agree on that. A global pandemic and the resulting isolation has probably made many of us feel disconnected, ungrounded, unsure of what's next. And in the midst of this drastic change in lifestyle, people are also crying out for social change and justice. And people all across the nation have organized in protest. There's just a lot going on. And it feels, probably for many of us, that there's so much that requires our constant attention. Things are changing so quickly, it can feel hard to keep up and stay informed. It wouldn't be strange in the midst of all this if you feel or have periods of feeling exhausted and overwhelmed. I know that I do. So what message does the Lord and the Word have for us when we're overwhelmed, when we're exhausted, when we feel like we just can't face the realities in front of us for a second longer? Well, we can turn to the story of Elijah. So there's a lot going on for Elijah too. He was called to do a very important thing. The entire nation had turned away from the Lord, was worshiping idols, was engaging in human sacrifice and all sorts of other horrendous rituals. And he was called to face them against what seemed like an entire nation, him alone. And he did, and he succeeded, or so he thought. But as one thing seemed to end, another one began. I think we can all relate to that. So he fled. He said, I can't do it. And he ran. He had given up hope. It seemed like life was too hard for him to keep going. He felt like things could never be made right. Maybe you feel like things will never settle down, or maybe you just don't know if you can hold out until then. So what does the Lord do for Elijah? What is the Lord wanting to do for us? Well, the Lord does appear to Elijah and give him advice, a command, but it isn't what happens first. The first thing that happens when he's sleeping under the broom tree is an angel appears to him. And those who are familiar with the appearance of angels in the Bible should expect the common phrase, "Do not be afraid." And yet, that isn't what the angel tells Elijah. He tells Elijah to get up and eat. And then later, when he comes a second time, tells Elijah, the journey is too great for you. The journey is too great for you. The message isn't everything's going to be okay. The message is, yeah, this is overwhelming. This is too much for you to handle. It can feel like a message that we're not expecting. We want the angel to deliver a message of comfort, telling Elijah everything's going to be okay. And yet, this message is a different kind of comfort. It's a recognition that the struggle that he's going through is a real and valid one. It's a recognition that, yeah, life isn't supposed to be this way. This is terrible. This is hard. But for now, he tells Elijah to do a simple thing. Just eat and drink. Just take care of yourself. Because the journey is too hard. This is a message for our emotional and spiritual states. When you're feeling overwhelmed or exhausted, there's so much that needs to be done, so much that needs our attention, but we just can't manage to get up again. Take a break. Take care of yourself and your needs. Our reading from Divine Love and Wisdom tells us that love of self and love of the world are essential and are, in their proper order, heavenly loves. That it's what drives us to take care of ourselves and what drives us to have recreation and fun, and what is the foundation of any useful thing we do for the neighbor or for the Lord. So it's important to take care of these things. Shore up your foundation. Make sure that you're a house built upon a rock. Make sure you're not about to fall. And this is also a message about our spiritual health and practice. Elijah's given cake and water. And generally, food in the word symbolizes good, and drink symbolizes truth. And this basic cake and water are basic good and truth. It's not a complex feast. It's simple. When you're feeling overwhelmed, like you can't possibly face it, it's good to go back to some simple spiritual practices that bring you comfort. Find time to clear your mind of the confusion, of the worry, of the stress, and go back to something comforting, something familiar. And the angel tells Elijah to eat twice. Sometimes we think, I need to take care of myself, so I'll quick get that out of the way, and then I'll get back to what I need to do. Maybe do it twice. Maybe slow down. Maybe don't rush through it. Maybe don't try to get it out of the way. Maybe give it your full attention. Because when Elijah does this, he's sustained for 40 days and 40 nights. And numbers in the word, we know, have significance. And the number 40 signifies completion, fullness. And this day and night cycle is sort of like the good times and the bad times, when things are clear and when things are obscure, when things are dark. And when we take this time to shore up our foundation, that can sustain us when things are clear and when things are dark, when things are easy and when things are hard. So, then the message is, when we're feeling overwhelmed, when we're having a hard time, just retreat from it. Right? Well, no, because the story doesn't end with Elijah remaining in the wilderness. This self-love, this self-care is a means to an end. It's our foundation. Nobody lives sitting on their foundation. At the end of the story, the Lord tells Elijah to go back into the world that he fled from and get things done. Yeah, the world still needs your help. You've had a break. Make sure that you are taken care of, and then go back out and serve others. Go back out and serve the Lord. So imagine when we're able to do this. When we're able to get to a place where we can go back out and do what we know is right. When we can get to a place where we can hear the Lord saying, "Go, return on your way." When we can recognize what that way needs to be. We can see better what the Lord is calling us to return to when we've cleared our minds and have a level head. We can hear his voice of comfort and empowerment, because taking care of ourselves helps us be in a stable place where we can more clearly see the path and move forward. It makes everything feel a little less scary and a little more manageable. So, if you're one of the many who feels overwhelmed, anxious, frustrated, take some time for yourself. Engage in a spiritual practice that helps you feel grounded and calm, whether it's meditation, prayer, reading the Word, or connecting with loved friends and family. Maybe do it twice. Maybe don't rush through it. Maybe give it the space that it deserves. Treat it like it matters. And once you feel grounded, secured, and okay, look for how you can re-engage in the work the Lord is calling you to do. Listen to his voice saying, "Go, return on your way." Amen.